Hello there, Kieran from Speaking Spurs, talking all things Tottenham, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Burnley game today, the 5-2 victory in the Premier League at Turf Moor, a ground that we struggle at, we really do, and not just in terms of results, but the performances there have been pretty dire over the last few years. So the fans that did travel managed to get a decent performance. They would have been a little bit worried when we went behind after 4 minutes, but the response was great. 16 minutes in, we grabbed an equaliser. 45 minutes in, Romero screamer. Maddison finally gets a decent longer range goal that we used to seeing him put in when he was at Leicester. And then Sonny, goal number 2, goal number 3, gets a hat-trick in his start through the middle, replacing Richarlison. So that result sees us sit second. That's on goal difference. So if you haven't looked at the table, Manchester City, 4 games, 4 victories, 12 points plus 9 goal difference. 4 games in for us, we've had 3 victories and a draw. That sees us on 10 points and a plus 7 goal difference. Liverpool below that, plus 6 goal difference. West Ham plus 5 goal difference, and Arsenal, after their victory today against Manchester United, they've got a plus 4 goal difference. All of us on 10 points, and then after that, in 6th spot, it's Brighton on 9 points. So yeah, nice little start for us in the Premier League, with games away from home as well. So that's a really, really good start for us, promising. Enjoying Ange Ball is absolutely great to watch. So let's talk about the teams. I say talk about the teams. We don't really want to talk about the Burnley players that were in the starting lineup. For us, Vicario in goal. Porro retaining his position at right back. Udogie, oh my god, I absolutely love this guy. Udogie at left back. Romero and Van der Ven keeping their partnership going in the centre, with Pat Matasar, Bizuma and Maddison as the midfield 3. And then Solomon coming in to replace Sonny on the left. Sonny goes into the middle, replacing Richarlison, and Kulusevski keeping his place on the right. Substitutes was interesting. So Skippy, Højbjerg, after not getting a move and pretty much scuppering several other moves for other players, Palhinha, on the last day of the transfer window. Davinson Sanchez also didn't get a move, so he was on the bench. Richarlison dropped to the bench. Emerson Royale, Perisic, Fraser Forster, Ben Davies and Phillips on the bench. So still no place for, Eric Dyer, Tanguy Ndombele, people like that. Lo Celso obviously wasn't there because of his injury. So that lineup, I mean, it was nice to see Solomon get another chance. Obviously in the cup game, wasn't an incredible game for him, wasn't for any of the Tottenham players, to be honest, but he did get to start out on the left this time instead of on the right, because in the cup game you had Perisic playing on the left. So Solomon, in his preferred position, grabbed 2 assists on the day. So although I would say he didn't set the world alight by any means, he still grabbed 2 assists, so that's his job. Sonny also didn't start the game amazing, wasn't, typically of Sonny when he plays through the middle. I've said before, I'm not the biggest fan of playing Sonny through the middle. However, this system will suit the way he plays. He's not the same player he once was out on the wing, where he can absolutely blister past everyone. Age catches up with all of us, and Sonny's not that same player anymore. In fact, Sonny's not really a take-on player anymore. He loves cutting inside and whipping the ball into the far corner. And that doesn't matter which side he's playing on, whether he's on the left or the right. He loves to come in and aim for those top corners. So actually, for him playing through the middle now, shifting the ball a couple of yards inward and whipping off a shot probably suits him much more. And in this system, as we see there, a hat-trick. So, maybe through the middle is going to be the best for him in this system. Can share it with Richarlison, but Richarlison's also got the ability to play anywhere across that front three anyway, so it doesn't mean that he won't see many minutes this season. Vicario, I think despite conceding the 2 goals, don't really have many complaints about him so far. I think he's very passionate. He actually, before the international break, now we're on the international break, he put on his social media just saying before he goes away that he's really grateful to the Spurs fans for giving him such a great welcome. Porro, oh my, what an assist. Think he's starting to prove people wrong. He can defend. However, I will say the goal that started everything for them did come down his side. So there are still some question marks there. But however, the last goal, Emerson. So, I think both of them are kind of equal now. They offer slightly different things. Emerson Royale's there to help see out a game. He's got a bit more tenacity in the tackle. Porro's obviously better going forward, and now we're seeing that. I mean, the ball that he picked out, what a ball. But yeah, let's actually talk about the players individually. So, Vicario, as I said, couldn't do much about Foster's close range early shot. He didn't really have anything else to do till he pulled off a beautiful flying save. He tipped over the same player, so that's Foster, tipped over his effort in the second half, and then that was deflected by Romero's last gasp challenge, and couldn't really get near to Brownhill's late clinical strike. It was actually Brownhill's goal. It was a very good goal. He took it very, very well, got the shot in just before Van der Ven could make the challenge. Moving on to right back, Porro, beating down the flank, as I said, and that was by Kaliosho in the build-up to Burnley's early goal. He did make some amends with a good ball over the top into the path for Sonny. That was in the build-up to the first half equaliser. The wonderful, it was such a good ball from deep. He picked it out from distance. It was played beautifully, really well weighted. Sonny just moving onto it, set him away for the hat-trick. And I feel like Porro's one of these players now. He's gaining confidence, and in this game he got better as the game went on. I really happy with Porro now, the progress. I was disappointed in him when he first came to us, but then again, maybe it's just because the whole squad was completely deflated playing under Conte, so who knows. Romero in the middle. What a strike. That's all I can say about that. What a strike. And it always looks more impressive when it comes in off the post. He hammered it in from outside the Burnley box. Dominant at the back again. I still will say I think the captaincy, not captaincy, but the vice captaincy alongside Maddison has really, really put the responsibility on him. And I just think that's the difference. It was a genius move by Postecoglou, because what he's actually done in that leadership group, you've got Romero, who's in the back line with responsibility and somebody that needed it because he's very rash in the tackle and picks up bookings. Maddison through the middle, and then Sonny up top. So you've actually created a leader in all three sections of the pitch. Genius. But however, I will say about Romero, he was actually caught out of position for Brownhill's late goal. But apart from that, very, very good performance. And also the game was done and dusted by that point. His partner in crime, Mickey Van der Ven, I feel like they've already got quite a good understanding and relationship. 22 years old, and he's come into the Premier League, and normally it takes players time to adjust. And, he was a little bit nervous in the Manchester United game, his first game as well. But you know what? It hasn't taken long at all for him to look settled in. He looks like a player that is built for the Premier League. He did try and get across to stop Brownhill's late goal, but couldn't actually just get there in time. It was just a great strike. So yeah, really impressive Van der Ven. Udogie at left back. My God, for a 20-year-old. It makes you wonder why, when we purchased him, we sent him back out on loan immediately. Based on these performances we could have done with him, he's just so comfortable on the ball. He's so strong. Everything about him I like. I know I'm struggling for words right now, but I'm just flabbergasted. He's great. He was, a couple of the goals actually came from him battling away to win the ball back. He got an assist as well for his pass inside to Maddison. I do kind of think these assists are a bit of like a wet assist. It wasn't an amazing assist. He's going to go down as having an assist, but really he just passed it on and Maddison did the rest. But still, the rest of his display, absolutely brilliant. He just makes that role look effortless. He really, really understands it, and a lot of us thought maybe he was going to struggle with this because it's not his natural position, but taking it and brilliant. Then another youngster, Pat Matassar. He picked up a booking in the first half, but linked up well with Maddison for a chance. worked hard once again, and that's what we're always going to get from him. He's got an engine. He's going to work really, really hard for the team. Plenty of attacking runs to link up with the forwards, and he's just going to get better and better. I think this system suits him. It really does. He's such a hard worker. Moving on to Yves Bissouma. A bit sloppy at times, and I did say about that in his last performance in the Premier League. I felt like he was holding on to the ball too long, got caught in possession. So yeah, he was a bit sloppy in this game as well in the first half. But once he kind of got into his natural rhythm, he was just dominant again. And I think he's one of these players. He's in a bit of a transition now, because at Brighton he was the man. Then he come to us and he had his confidence knocked a little bit, was told that he's not tactically good enough, and that was publicly. Now he's being given kind of this freedom to do what he wants on the pitch, but also do the things that Postecoglou wants him to do. So I think he's one of them. It's going to take a little while for it to kind of get right there, but from what we've seen so far, he's on his day, he's going to be an absolute world beater. He's just on the ball. He's so hard to knock off it. A bit like Udogie, they're both very hard to knock off the ball. But Bazouma's got that kind of Moussa Dembele about him as well. And, I can't wait for him to fully come into his own. James Maddison. Oh, I keep saying, oh. But it's just, honestly, these players, there's just something about it. They're just great. And he's such a bargain, 40 million. Considering the prices that are being knocked about for other people, it's amazing. We were massively helped by Leicester going down, but what a player. He's so creative. His goal, just everything we want. Touch inside, got his sight, bends it round the post and into the far side. He forced a flying save from Trafford after a 1-2 with Sarr, I think it was. And his goal, brilliant. I love him. I really do. And he's so good with the fans as well. He's hilarious. He has banter with the opposition fans. And I think they give him a bit of stick, but I think they like the fact that he gives it back, because he never does it in a disrespectful way. It's really tasteful. He's cheeky. He talks really well. I love him. Absolutely love him. Moving on to the forward line, Kulusevski. He's still he's not where we need him to be. He had some good little moments here and there. The end product wasn't great until he put a ball through to Sonny early in the second half. Decent display, but I thought that he would have given more, considering that we've just signed Brennan Johnson. And Solomon as well, looking good. I thought that might have just pushed him a little bit more, but I don't know. There's something about him that's not quite clicking at the moment. Don't get me wrong, still playing well, but could be playing better. Then talking to Manor Solomon on the left, given a chance. Had a couple of blocked efforts, teed up Sonny for his first assist, and then did so again late on for the second. The first one, it was just a great touch by Sonny, which took him backwards, saw Solomon. Solomon looked up, Sonny was in space. It was quite an easy lay on, past two defenders. And then, set him up for a second. And I felt after the disappointing game against Fulham, it was a really good response from him. He was a constant threat, I thought. The end product wasn't particularly incredible, but I think we knew that before we signed him. We'd seen what he'd done at Fulham, and he did go on that little run where he scored, 4 or 5 games in a row. But we knew that consistency with the end product was something that he needs to work on. He's got plenty of time to work on it. He'll get better and better as time goes on. So let's talk about Sonny, the man in the middle. What a first goal. Great. The 1-2 with Solomon, and the keeper was drawn out and Sonny did not panic. It was such a cheeky little chip. Everything about that first goal was just beautiful. What a chip. It was like a proper deft little dink, and it almost went over the keeper in slow motion. You see the keeper's hand, the ball goes past. Like, what a goal. Clinically fired home for the second, and then slotted home his hat-trick from Porro's wonderful pass. He does the central role very differently to other players, but in the Postecoglou system, it's just so effective. And I mean, I thought Richarlison maybe would have got another chance after scoring. But there you go. Sonny comes in and shows him how to do it. Maybe that's what Postecoglou was looking at. I'll put Sonny in, see what he can do, and that might light a fire under Richarlison, especially as he's such an emotional guy. I think to be on the bench would have... I don't think it would have dented Richarlison's confidence. I think it would have made him angry, which might be a good thing. Right, moving on to the substitutes. Perisic came on in the second half, added some experience for us down the left. Højbjerg, the man that did not move on deadline day, he added some fresh legs in the centre of pitch, had a penalty shout as well. And I feel like Perisic and Højbjerg are going to be the go-to guys to come on, add their experience and try and shore up a game a little bit, tighten things up. Very experienced players. Then Richarlison came on for Sonny, held up the ball fairly well. Yeah, it's about all we can say about him. Skippy and Royale came on very late on. Skippy for Maddison and Royale came on for Kulusevski, which meant Porro then pushed further up. So yeah, that was it for the players and what I thought about it. But look, the thing is, we're really starting to get to grips with it. And I know that sounds silly to say so early on. And it's something that Postecoglou keeps reiterating, that it's so early. And there's, which is great because that means there is so much more to come. You think about it, 4 games in, 3 of them have been away, 3 victories, 1 draw. It's one of them where if we're only going to get better, like, where is the ceiling? It's absolutely mental to think that this team is going to get better and better. So yeah, in his press conference, he was asked, was that the kind of football you wanted to bring to Tottenham? He was like, it was good today for sure. Obviously, going a goal down, again, you get tested, and particularly after midweek, you're looking for that kind of reactions. What kind of reactions the lads have? I thought they were outstanding. Just staying really calm and clear-headed and playing football, and we grew into the game. Once we got to grips with it, I think we were dominant in just about every area. Maybe a little bit wasteful in the first half, in the front third, but in the second half we got really clinical. I can't praise the players highly enough in the way they navigated the challenges we had today. Now, what I love about Postecoglou when he talks is that he said we were wasteful in the first half. So that means we've come away from that, a 5-2 victory. And obviously he's happy in the way the players have applied themselves and been clinical in the second half. He still mentioned that we weren't clinical enough in the first half. So he's basically saying, look, you did well, guys, but I need you to give me more. I need you to be clinical the whole game. And he does this a lot. He will give out a compliment, but there's always that, I need more. Which is great because it gives them something to strive for, doesn't let the players get too comfortable. Us as fans, we were probably thinking in the first half, should have scored more goals. And he's saying it. He's not sitting there going, look, we were great. That's me. I'm the manager. Come in. I love him. Honestly, talks so well. People outside the club expected you to try and sign a new number 9, but you were consistent in saying that wouldn't be the case. Is Son's performance today exactly why? He put, it's not exactly why, but one of the reasons. I've got a picture in my head of what I want the team to look like, and I keep saying that we're still at the beginning. We're still building, and there's still a lot to be done. It's about putting all the pieces together and at the same time not neglecting what's right in front of you. There are some really good footballers at this club, and I think they have the ability to play in the way this team needs to set up. Sonny, whether it's playing central or wide, he's got all the characteristics. Mate, he can play in any system. But the way we play, he's ideal. Why did you want to bring Brennan Johnson to the club? He said, look, just another exciting player. He's a real threat in the front third. And he's a bit different to what we've already got. He's young, ambitious. It's no secret that's been the model for me, not just here, but wherever I've gone. It's just as much about the person you're bringing in as the footballer. Looking at him, he's going to fit in really well with this group because he's really ambitious and hungry, and he wants to take his game to another level. The technical and the physical attributes he has, I think, should fit in really well with us. Was there any more you wanted from the transfer window? You mentioned you wanted another centre-back a few times. And he said, look, when you go through these things, you always understand that there are so many moving parts that I think you rarely come out of it with an ideal picture, but that doesn't mean it isn't a picture that can still work. We've still done a fair bit in a short space of time. When you look at the team we've got now, we've virtually changed half the starting lineup. the way we play, the way we train, totally new coaching staff and training. It was never going to be one window, this rebuild. Where we sit at the moment, I'm really happy with the players we brought in. And look, I think that is the main thing. I think us as fans, not just Spurs fans, but fans in general, you get a transfer window. You get excited and just think, we can go out and sign every single person we want. We need this, we need that, we need that. But there's so many moving parts for things to happen. You know, it's players that you need to get out. And this is part of the problem. We needed to get players out. And if clubs don't come in for them that they want to move to, you can't force them. You can't sit there and say, I can't believe Eric Dyer didn't go out. I can't believe Davinson Sanchez didn't go and Ndombele and blah, blah, blah. Yes, they want to play football, but at the same time, they've got to look out for themselves. They need to, it needs to be the right move for them. You know, you look at Hugo Lloris, he had a few moves he could have taken on the last day, but didn't for personal reasons. Like, what is the point in moving all the way over to Nice in the last hour of the window to still be number 2? Like, he's not going to play. He might as well stay at Spurs, you know, where his family are in London, they're settled, rather than moving to still not play. Even if you're on the bench, you're probably not going to play. So at Tottenham, he's not going to play. So why would he move? And I know fans will be angry that I'm saying that, but, you know, I'm not the player that's not moving. But you've got to understand, in your own situation, if you're not getting a move where you're going to play, why would you uproot everything to then probably move again? Because if he's not playing and he's not happy there, he's going to want to move in January, or he's going to want to move again at the end of the season. So, I mean, this is, I think we forget this sometimes as fans. We're so like, they need to go do this, they need to blah, blah, blah. Why are they're messing up our club and messing up our plans? But what would you do in that situation? You know, if you were given a job offer down the road and you're not enjoying your current job, but that job, you know, you're going to be underappreciated as well. Sometimes it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. So, you know, cut them a bit of slack. They are human beings as well. They then started speaking about James Maddison. He gets fouled a lot and a lot of stick, but he doesn't hide, does he? He said, look, I've only got to know him recently as a person, but he's a very strong, resilient guy. He's mentally strong and he likes not to be targeted, but he wants the ball. And he wants to be in those situations. He has that quality. I thought today was a real testament to Sonny, Madders and Romero. They all scored, but those three are thrust into leadership positions, and the way they've embraced that responsibility with not only words but actions, not just on game day but on a daily basis. And that's encouraging for me as anything, because as fantastic players as they are individually, they've all really bought into that team ethic. Madders is one of those. He's so creative, and today he showed how clinical he is in front of goal, and his preparedness to work for the team, I think, is a great example. Look, I think we're very lucky at the moment. We've got a manager that plays a great brand of football. He's really likeable. You know, the players at the end of the game all went over to the fans. The Tottenham fans at the moment are just, it's mental watching them really give great feedback to the players, not only during the game, but after the game. They're singing so loudly. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Tottenham fans on the whole are pretty good in the stadium. However, there have been moments, and I've been in the crowd as well, when the fans have turned, and it's not particularly great when they do. And I mean, any stadium, it's not great when the fans turn. But look, they've been great. They're enjoying it. And then Ange Postecoglou loves going over to the fans after the players. He's usually the last person to leave the field, and they love him. They really do. And even he was asking them for more. Before that, when the players were over, Bazuma was like edging them to just give more and more noise. And this is after the game's done. The players are obviously buzzing, you know, to go away to Burnley. And no disrespect to them, you know, they've only just come up, and I kind of respect what they're trying to do. Vincent Kompany had a way of playing in the Championship, and he really wanted to go at teams and play a great brand of football. The difference is we just did it better. Both teams wanted to play out from the back. They just, you know, he actually said himself that he just they couldn't cope with Spurs and the way they were playing. And I commend Vincent Kompany for wanting to play a certain way. But the difference is the players you've got in there in the budget. You know, you look down Tottenham's list of players, a lot of international footballers in there, a lot of experienced players. You look down their list, not as experienced. They've come from the Championship, They've made a decent chunk of signings themselves coming up, so there's an adjustment period. But if you want to play that brand of football, you're going to get caught out in the Premier League unless you can match the players in terms of quality. And I'm not saying they're bad players at Burnley. I'm just saying they haven't got enough top level quality in their team to carry them through. So playing this brand of football, there are going to be teams in and around them down the bottom throughout the season that they will get found out by, just because they will be more resilient and play more reserved and then hit them on the break. So like, I commend him for doing it, but I think maybe company needs to look at a little change of style just to get them through this little period and then start implementing what they used last season gradually into games. But yeah, look, it's great to see. It was a great spectacle for us as Spurs fans, probably for the neutral. Burnley fans, I suppose they'll be happy with the way they're playing, but if they keep playing like this against all the teams in the Premier League, I do worry that they could go straight back down. Which is a shame because I like Vincent Kompany, and I loved the way Burnley played last season. I really enjoyed watching it. I just think it could come back to bite them this season. But yeah, look, great game from us. I'm really looking forward to seeing more. It's good to see someone like Solomon come on and give a strong performance. And I love that Udogie, at 20 years old, is just trusted. We've got a 20-year-old next to a 22-year-old centre-back. Romero's not exactly old himself. And Porro on the other side, I think he's, 23? 23 or 24. It's such a young back line. And I love it. I love the passion from the players. They're just so happy to be playing a great brand of football. Bazuma's obviously happy because last season was just rubbish for him. He had such a horrible season, not in terms of his ability, but the system that he was put in, the criticism from Conte publicly. He must just be loving it. Breath of fresh air. Maddison in a team that he knows are not going to be fighting relegation, like a weight lifted off his shoulders, being able to express himself, not worrying about having to do all the defensive work. Really impressed. Really good time to be a Spurs fan. May it continue. So that's it for today. Thank you for sticking around. If you have enjoyed that and you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to support it with a like so it reaches more Spurs fans. And definitely comment below. Loving some of the comments recently, like good interaction. So thank you very much. I have been Kieran from Speaking Spurs. And until next time, come on you Spurs.